My name's Scott Borrero. I am 28 and I'm a commercial photographer based out of Portland, Oregon. I grew up in California where I went to school and also studied art school there. After a few years at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco, I landed my first kind of real big gig as a photographer as the head photographer for a fashion company. It's a little startup called Le Tote in San Francisco. And then from there, they kind of gave me the platform I needed and kind of helped me to develop my network to make that jump to freelance. And then from there, I started working with companies like Nike, Toyota. Nike's definitely been my most favorite client to shoot for. So before I actually started as a photographer, I was really into photo editing. What I would do, because I couldn't actually afford a real camera at that time, was I would go to these forums and I would find these raw files and I would just like download them. And I really dove into them in Photoshop. So that when I first got a camera and I could actually start shooting, I would be able to, edit them up really nice. And when I first started out in photography, I remember I was like, God, I'm just so terrible at photography, but at least my Photoshop skills helped to make up for it a little bit. But then as I progressed, I really developed, learn how to love light and study light. And I think that's the thing that interests me the most is the way that light interacts with subjects and how to modify it to create cool effects. So I would say my style is a bit more surrealistic. My images have a sense of sort of wonder, and something's either a little bit exaggerated or not, exactly how it is in real life. I don't want you to just look at my image and kind of eyes glaze over and that's it. I want your eyes to be distracted by certain things and kind of jump it around an image and follow the stories. When you look at something, it isn't exactly how you see it always. Someone can have a different perception from you. And what I'd like to impart on them is my vision of the world, so how I see it and how I bring that to life. You can only go into a photo shoot with so much planning, so much knowledge before when you start shooting, your instincts kind of just kick in. And you start to play with light and seeing when you get to a location, maybe the lighting isn't exactly how you planned, so you have to adjust to that. You have to move around and be able to kind of adjust on the spot. Yes, you have a shot list or something, an idea, a concept in mind, but you're also willing and able to adapt to any kind of situation that's thrown your way. I've actually been a Canon photographer for all of my career. My first Canon was a little power shot that my mom got me. And I remember I took my first kind of setup picture where I put a lamp right next to my brother and I was just like, oh my God, I'm a photographer. I created this beautiful image. And then from then on, I just, I really stuck with Canon. They're a brand that I use and enjoy. So right now I shoot with 1DX as my main body and then Mark III as my backup. And then my go-to lenses are like 24, 35, 50, 24 to 70, and 70 to 200. I think that covers, a pretty vast array of focal lengths there, and it covers pretty much anything I need. In today's photography, I would say more than in the past, there are more people who are photographers that's not actually their full-time job. Whereas with myself, I would say I'm classically trained. I went to school for it. Not necessarily saying that would make me a better artist, but it makes me different. When I shoot an image, I'm thinking about so many different things at one time. I'm thinking about, not only is the light that it's affecting them, the colors that are affecting them. I'm thinking about the story. I'm thinking about which hand is where and what that tells about the story. I know photography is something that I want to be great at. And if it's not photography, it's cinematography or it's something related with arts. And that's what motivates me, is to be the best that I can be and to create beautiful stuff, that inspires people, that really gets people excited about, either my work or about life or about something. There's a lot of negative stuff in this world. And I like to create positive stuff that kind of gets people amped about life or gets people, back on the right track. If they're having a bad day, something that cheers them up. So yeah. I have this rule that I like to do, on Instagram where one image is for, people and then one image is for me. An image that's, for other people might be something that's bright and gaudy, it generates the awes. It's a really beautiful image. But then I also like to shoot for myself where I'll post an image or I'll share an image that is, it's not a big image. It's not like something that's going to garner a lot of attention, but it's something that's sentimental to me, and either I liked the way the lines look in it or the light or the person or something. And that's kind of like the way I like to create is, a little something for them and a little bit of something for me. I would say actually my favorite photo recently has to be this photo where I have the moon in it. My cousin and I went camping and it must have been, I think it was like 1 o'clock in the morning or something. And we were out shooting star photos and the moon started coming up over the horizon, and it was my first time actually shooting night photos with my 70 to 200. So I was pretty stoked about that, being able to punch in on a moon and actually see the details of the backside of the moon. That was pretty incredible to me. So I have this shot of my tent kind of centered and low in the frame, and then the moon, which is sort of crescent shaped, and then you can see the backside of the moon. And that's just, to me, it has a lot of memories with my cousin, but also is kind of a really cool technical photo for me. Advice, you know, that I would give myself is to just keep going, just keep at it. Never give up, because with photography, there's so many chances, so many opportunities where you can just throw in the towel and just be like, well, you know, I didn't make it as a photographer. And when you make it past those little points and you just push on that little bit further, that's what gets you those extra jobs. That's what allows you to continue and really, you know, pushes you to that next level. There's so many people out there trying to get, you know, all these jobs and stuff, but you can be that one person to push past and make a difference. That's gonna mean everything in the world.